Aventurine is finally here, and honestly, I did not expect his kit to be this interesting. At first glance, he looks like a straightforward quantum elation DPS, but the more you read his abilities, the more you realize he's designed to dominate both follow-up attack and elation teams. So in this video, we will break down his entire kit, explain how his unique fervor mechanic works, discuss whether his eidolons and signature light cone are worth investing in, and figure out which teams can bring out his full potential. If you really like Aventurine waveflair, please hit the like and subscribe button. Now if you have done that, let's get this video started. Aventurine waveflair is a 5-star limited quantum elation character, and yes, you guys already know he is a main DPS, but what's unique about him is that he works for both follow-up and elation archetype. He has a base speed of 103 and max energy of 140. His kit is pretty simple actually, but as usual, I think it's easier to understand his kit if I talk about his talent first. So one thing you should know that Aventurine has 2 elation skills, the basic one and enhanced elation skill. For his talent, his certified banger duration is extended by 1 turn, which is nice, so it won't immediately be reduced. And then one important term to know about him is stack accumulation called fervor. This could be stacked up to 30 times, and every time his ally in the team attack, he will get 1 fervor as well as 1 certified banger. From this alone, we already know that he benefits the most with follow-up attackers whose kit will trigger frequent attacks. When this fervor reaches 10 points, he will immediately cast elation skill and only taking a fixed 20 punchlines. After successfully using this, the next elation skill during AHA instant will be enhanced. Also, both of his skill and ultimate will deal additional elation quantum damage if he possesses certified banger. So what's the difference between the basic elation skill and the enhanced one? The basic elation skill led him to deal 60% quantum elation damage to all enemies, followed by 10 instances of random hits. As for the enhanced skill, it's basically the same multiplier and description, but with addition, he will consume all fervor stacks that he had to deal more damage instances. 1 point of fervor will be converted into 1 random instance of 15% quantum elation damage. So at max stacks, this elation skill will give you 1 nuke hit plus 40 additional instances, which is huge when dealing with single target scenario. So we know that favors acts very important to him and he consumes so much of it, but is there any way to gain that stacks besides relying only to his teammate to attack? First, the answer is from his skill. He will start jumping to do a volleyball serve to attack all enemies present on the battlefield. Once used, he immediately gains 4 stacks of fervor as well as 2 punchlines as a bonus. Then second one is from technique. He will start to serve to attack enemies, and once enter the battlefield, he will deal elation damage to all of them and at the same time gain 2 stacks of fervor and 20 certified banger. And the third one is from his ultimate. Once activated, he will attack all enemies while simultaneously gain 8 stacks of fervor and also 5 punchlines. In addition, he also gained increase in speed by 25% for 3 turns. Actually, there's another way for him to obtain that fervor, and it's in one of his traces. So let's talk about it next. So Aventurine is an elation main DPS that scales from speed, just like Super Wolf. In fact, both their traits is quite similar. The first one rewards him with a 30% elation increase if his speed reaches 160. And then this also let Aventurine to convert some of his speed into elation stats for every 1 point of speed that exceeds 160. So the maximum number of elation boosts he gets is 230% with the speed reaching 360. Aventurine needs someone or all of his team to attack so that they can contribute fervor. So that's why earlier I suggest that follow-up team must be useful for him. And his second choice is another evidence of why he could do both archetype. At the start of the battle, if there are other elation units besides him, he immediately gained 100% elation. Otherwise, if he is the only elation character, he gains other benefits. Every team that is attacking will give him 2 certified banger, 1 punchline, and increase the speed of AHA by 25. But AHA speed will return to normal once the AHA instant is triggered. So even if he is the only elation unit in his team, he actually has the ability to make AHA instant to be triggered quickly. The twist is that this makes the old leaks about Aventurine being a self-elation in the team and forming 3-male team is true. With this, using Ashfell, Aimblade, and Aven is more than viable. Moving on to his third trace, he instantly gets 48% crit damage. On top of that, when his member using any attacks, he gets another 48% crit damage, plus additional 1 fervor stacks. But take note that this can only be triggered up to 6 times and resets after Aven used his skill. And with this, he is a really good character that can self-buff himself. So that's basically all of his kit. As I stated earlier, his kit is nothing complicated as Robin's. So let's talk about his vertical investment next. Are his eidolons really good? For his E1 is extremely good, he immediately gained all type respan by 24%, and every time he gained 10 points of fervor, he can now cast elation skill. Take note that the requirement may be the same as his talent, but his talent at E0 only activate if you only reach 10 points, while his E1 continuously let him cast elation skill for every 10 stacks of fervor obtained. So this means more damage contribution he can give, outside of using skill and before the AHA instant triggered. Next is his E2. The next limit of fervor now is 50 instead of only 30, and then he gained additional 2 fervor stacks when using ultimate, skill or elation skill. E4 is really straightforward, damage dealt he deals now will ignore 18% of enemy's defense. And lastly, his 6 eidolon, his elation damage dealt may remakes by 25%. And then after 2 ultimate usage, the next 2 elation skill used will be enhanced instead, and when using this, he no longer consume fervor. So I think his E1 is pretty good for now, not sure it's going to get changed later on. But before making any conclusion, let's start by discussing his signature. The wearer of this LC will get 18% crit rate, which makes sense since he got so much crit damage already. And then when the user casts elation skill, they got a buff that will increase their speed by 20%. And if the next elation skill use is different than before, they will get 36% elation. After using elation 3 times, then they will recover 1 skill points. So I guess this LC can be used also by Super Wolf. I could be mistaken since I don't invest in her team, but Super Wolf also got a different elation skill, right? But anyway, this LC is good, but I think compared to his Eidolon 1, that offers Raspan is more important since his kit got so much elation already. So let's now talk about what character or team that could synergize well with him. The first one is already obvious, they are the follow-up teams, or should I say the male team. For some of you guys that have been waiting for your whole life, it's finally happening. So the team could be something like Aventurine SP as your main DPS, Aimblade as the debuffer at sub DPS, Ashfell as the second sub DPS, and for the last slot, which is the sustain, it could be Permancer, if you really want to make the full male team. The synergy is really good, with Ashfell giving Aventurine so much fervor stacks, and Blade buffing at the same time debuffing everything, and he could also trigger follow-up attack at some time, and this also contribute to fervor stacks. But if you really don't care about the male team, you can slot literally any sustain here. Someone like Hua Hua could also work, while Hyacinth is never wrong. If you don't have Hashvale, I think it's also safe to use Dreamy. And then if you go outside of follow-up teams, the dual elation team could honestly work, since Aventurine Strike itself says that he can get 100% elation if there are other elation members in the party. So the team could be Aventurine, Yao Guang as the supporter, EMC as the second support, and Hua Hua as the sustain. So it's basically Venetia's team. Yao Guang being the only support for elation archetype that has 3 main DPS is crazy. She offers tons of elation boosts as well as all tap Raspan to the team, meanwhile elation MC can force the targeted ally from their ultimate to cast elation skill, which is nice for Aventurine that relies heavily on elation skill to deal damage. Hua Hua being Hua Hua helps sustaining the team while also provide energy recovery and attack. Or maybe you could combine both follow-up team and elation. The difference is that Ashfell is replaced by Yao Guang here that also could do the work, so the team will be Aventurine, Yao Guang, Aimblade, and Permancer or Hua Hua. So I guess for now I could only think this as his team option. If I find out more of his possible synergies, I will do a separate video. But the point is, Aventurine waveflair is a good character. If you have Merchandise Blade and Ashfell, I think he's a really great addition to that team. I know it's very early to say and it's not based on any calculations, but I think Aventurine team is probably better in follow-ups if you happen to have Aimblade and Ashfell. So this way you won't fight over Yao Guang for the second team. So that's all for Aventurine waveflair kit breakdown. So far, what do you guys think of him? Will he be the strongest elation main DPS? Are you guys have already decided to pull him now, even without seeing and caring about any potential nerfs? Please let me know in the comments. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like and subscribe button, turn notification as well so you won't be missing out on any of my Star Rail content. I will see you guys on my next one. Bye bye!